Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Entertainment Expansion. We're your hosts, Tyler Callahan and Mike Ferrante. Mike, how you doing this week?
You know me, Tyler. I'm chilling.
Well, that's good to hear, as always. So, this week is a bit of an odd movie to talk about in December. I wouldn't really consider it a Christmas movie, but on our last episode, we talked about Doctor Sleep. After we recorded the episode, Mike and I had a pretty good discussion about The Shining, and we thought, well, let's just turn that into a full episode. So before we move forward with all the movies coming out now, we just wanted to talk more about one of the more famous movies of all time, made from Stanley Kubrick. If you're into film, you've heard of him. And Mike, what is The Shining about, besides
Well,
crazy Jack Nicholson?
The Shining is the prequel to Doctor Sleep, and it is about a family consistent of Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, and unnamed child actor. He does have a name, I just don't know it.
It is Danny Lloyd.
Talking about the actor's name.
Yeah.
His name is Danny Lloyd?
Yes. Yeah,
Wasn't his
Danny
name
Lloyd
Dan-
as Danny Torrance.
Okay. Ironic, but okay. So yeah, Jack Nicholson's character takes up a job to kind of look after the Overlook Hotel during their winter break because the roads they ice over and it snows a lot, so they get no traffic, but they still need someone to look after the hotel while everyone's away. And the hotel is essentially haunted, and it slowly corrupts the minds of the male caretakers.
Okay, that's an interesting way to put it, because I assume you're referencing both Jack and Danny, right?
And also the caretaker before him as well.
Okay, that's true. That's true. Dick
Because
Halloran.
it's no, Dick Halloran was he was the cook, the
Oh,
other
you mean the
caretaker that
caretaker
killed
from before?
his two daughters.
Oh, yeah, the one with the daughter. Yeah. Okay. Well, I
Yeah.
mentioned Dick because he, like Danny, can, while not corrupted, he does see what's going on.
Yes.
I do find it kind of weird that Wendy's like the only one in the story that doesn't really know what the fuck's happening.
I mean, it kind of makes sense.
But I think the one thing that makes The Shining great is
Jack
it
Nicholson.
is, well, besides his outstanding performance, is that this movie's so open to interpretation. The more you think about it, the more you can talk about it. So take, for example, Jack going crazy, his performance. When does he go crazy? Is it as soon as he steps in a hotel? Is it a month in? Is it a weekend? Is it when he takes the first drink from the bartender that's not there? Is that when he's done? It's like you do see him over time lose his mind more and more, but when was the moment where it started? And then you can say the same thing for it just goes into his character more as like we know he was kind of an asshole before, but was he really that much of an asshole? Or like how does the hotel work? Right?
Yeah,
Like they don't make that clear, but it's great that you don't know all the answers.
I agree. Back to when he went crazy. I mean, it's kind of hard. You're right. It is hard to tell because I know we talked about this before. I can't tell if it's Jack Nicholson's acting or the way the lines were supposed to be read.
Yeah.
If that's just the way he talked, or he was a sarcastic asshole his whole life.
Yeah, you were talking about the where they're going through the rooms. He's like, oh, it's perfect for a child, but
Yeah,
you
and
can't tell.
he's like, it sounds sarcastic, but you can't tell.
Yeah, it's
And
like,
then,
is he already possessed now, or is he just an asshole, or is he just being nice, and he just comes off as sarcastic?
yeah, and also like in the beginning, he wasn't being like an asshole to his wife like at all. It seemed like their marriage was okay, like not great, but
Yeah,
not as abusive as it led up to. The longer that he stayed there, the more hostile he became.
like you could tell he was slightly annoyed with her at times, but was still trying to be nice. But yeah, at a certain point, he's like, okay, you're just being mean. I think another thing about The Shining is just the lore in the movie itself. And obviously, this doesn't all just go to Kubrick. Obviously, this is based off Stephen King's book. But just the idea, like at the end, when you see the photo that there's been issues with the hotel for years, and you see a guy that looks like Jack in the photo from the 1920s, and now you're like, what does that mean? Is he like reincarnated? Is it that he was always here? And it's just that ending always puzzled me.
Uh, I mean, you can take it however you want, but my interpretation was he is now a part of the hotel.
Okay. So he
Like
wasn't
Jack,
in the photo before, but now that he's taken. the hotel took him.
Yeah,
He's there.
that's the way I took it
Okay.
because if you freeze frame it, I believe the other caretaker before him that killed his daughter, he was also in the photo.
Okay.
So is it a possibility that everyone in that photo has just been
Over
victims
time.
of the Overlook Hotel?
And that could be, and it'd be a perfect way for the hotel to show off because it's one photo in the center of a bunch of others, so no one would really pay attention to if it was slightly edited. No
Correct.
one would know. So, but Mike, what else did you like about the movie?
Well, I liked how it was more of psychological. It was like what was it, cabin fever type thing,
Yeah,
where you just kind of you're stuck in a rut. Like, yeah, it can be fun for a little bit, but when you're there for weeks and weeks on end and there's nothing to do in this giant hotel, you can go a little mad.
you can. Yeah,
I
and you'd have
enjoyed
this.
how
Yeah,
it really didn't try to pull off a horror aspect until the very end. And even then, I still wouldn't even call it a horror. I'd call it more of a psychological thriller.
yeah, I would agree with you there. Like, there might be a couple like one. It's like Doctor Sleep. It's like there's two or three scary elements and a couple scenes, but it's not. That doesn't make it a horror movie.
Correct.
And I would say, just besides Jack Nicholson, I thought a lot of the supporting cast was really good as well, especially Danny. The kid that plays Danny's pretty good, especially
Yes,
for his age. And Dick Halloran. You know, at the beginning, you're like, oh, okay, he's trying to be nice and all that, but it sucks that all the effort he goes through to get back to the hotel just to die in like 2 seconds. But, and, I've said it before, obviously, you know how I feel about Doctor Sleep, but one of the few things I did like is how, even in death, he's still able to help Danny.
yep.
Because based on the movie,
Like,
he didn't do much.
not really, except for
Yeah.
just like, hey, we got the shine.
Yeah, we got the shine. Watch out. Don't go to this room. I'm going into the room anyway.
So technically, it's really Danny's fault that Dick Halloran's dead.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you
Yeah,
could also say that about Doctor Sleep as well. You know, that girl wouldn't stop messing with that group.
yeah,
And now what happened to Danny? Mm-mm. Cycle continues, huh?
indeed. She better hope some kid doesn't reach out and find her. But so it also kind of makes you wonder if Danny never went into that room, would the events have still happened?
That's what I've been saying. It's like, what is, because we know the hotel is alive, but
Yeah.
did he need to open the room for the bad shit to happen? Or would the hotel just been teasing them the entire time, but couldn't do much because of the room?
Well, I think the room opened itself, didn't it? And then he just walked
It
in.
did, but then he opened it up
Yes.
fully, and then that's when he got attacked. But that's also a good point. It did, if I remember correctly, it did turn the doorknob and cracked open.
Yes.
If that's the case, why not just crack it open all the way and come out? So, but I mean,
Good
that's what
question.
I find personally great about The Shining is you can just go back and forth on when do you think everything happened? Because you're right, if he didn't go in that day, would have Jack Torrance gone crazy? So,
The
was there
world will never
anything
know.
you did not like about the movie? I think I know there's one thing.
I mean, some of the acting was kind of annoying to sit through.
Including.
I'm not going to be mean about it this time, but Shelley Duvall's acting really annoyed me. She was just like, all right, it's just irritating.
I will say it's not
And,
the greatest, but
who knows? I heard she had a rough time working with Stanley Kubrick.
that's what I heard too. So I think obviously that gets you know got a lot of abuse during the production. Cut some slack, but at the minimum, she did get me to understand that she she felt trapped and isolated with Jack Torrance, and she did get that fear across. Acting wise, not
Oh,
that
yeah.
great, but the fear was especially the her and the baseball bat scene as she goes up the stairs. That's when it like really hit that like there's not really nothing she can do.
Yeah.
I did
I don't know.
feel
It
that
was too long.
a little bit. I feel like could have shaved off like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I definitely felt, especially the beginning of the movie, could have sped up a bit.
Yeah, but I feel like that's the whole movie is just kind of very long and kind of tiptoeing everywhere. Like it takes its time throughout everything, realistically.
Yeah, it does. Like, yeah, I guess that's a better way to put it. It's just overall it could have been shortened because there's not one scene that you could take out. Because I feel if you take out any specific scene, it would hurt the movie.
Yes, and
But
that what we
yeah,
got is already cut down
Oh,
because
was there?
the original Kubrick version, which was widely released to basically everywhere except for the United States, because cinemas in the United States thought it would be too long of a film. It's got another 30 to 45 minutes to it.
Yeah, I'm just looking here actually on my screen. The European version, he cut 25 minutes from the movie for the US.
Yes.
So, yeah, wow. So this could have been easily, how long was it? 2.5 hour movie?
Yeah, it would have been about 3 hours.
About 3 hours, yeah. I mean, it's kind of a shame, but yeah. I mean, Jesus, if the European version was 3 hours, I wonder what his initial cut was. Probably 4 to 5 hours. But yeah, this is
Re- Release the Kubrick cut.
hashtag release the Kubrick cut. But that's basically all I have about The Shining. Personally, I'd recommend it if you're into films. This is, well, everyone knows about The Shining. I feel a lot of people these days haven't sat down and watch it. I think you should sit down and watch it, as it is a good, great film on psychological terror and how it can affect people. Would you
Agreed.
recommend
I
it?
would recommend it.
Okay.
I mean, if you're a film lover, you have to watch this.
Yes. Like Stanley Kubrick is one of those top tier directors of all time, and from his set of films, this is up there. So absolutely should give it a watch. And look, once shit starts happening, that 2.5 hours, that doesn't really sit in your head. But before we wrap up, Mike, we did get a comment on our last episode about Doctor Sleep, and they did reply about what they thought of the movie.
All right, let's hear it.
So this is from Mark Walling. It said the movie was the best of the year. Rose the Hat was amazing, and the movie length was perfect, and that in fact could have wished they had another half an hour. The story was compelling enough to have more of the story told. The red rum scene was perfect because Dan seeing red rum in the mirror was just like the Shining scene with the mirror and the red rum. So obviously, I had issues about the length of the movie. He feels not only was it perfect, could have been almost 3 hours long as well. Thank you, Mark, for your comment. And Mike, if anyone else has comments about Doctor Sleep or for this episode, The Shining, where can they let us know?
Well, you could either email us, as always, entertainmentexpansionoutlook.com. You could find us down on our Instagram page, send us a direct message, post a comment under our last post, which is properly labeled Entertainment Expansion. But hey, if you're going through all that trouble, might as well check out our YouTube channel, which you're never going to guess it. Yes, it is Entertainment Expansion. We've got a whole bunch of videos about movies, a few games here or there, but it's mostly movies. There's a lot of stuff I think you guys are going to like.
I agree with that. I think there'll definitely be quite a few discussions you'll enjoy. But that is it for this week's episode of Entertainment Expansion. Thank you for listening. And as always, we will see you next week.